Think of a chicken farmer, and this is probably what comes to mind.
So we're at a farm, and this is a pen that is ready for export to Singapore. A self-leveling system, is it?
But if you're in the chicken business in Singapore, your life would probably look more like this.
The general public don't really know what we're doing. It's always like, so you're going to feed chickens, or what are you going to do?
Kenny's family has been in the chicken business since his great-grandfather's time. But much has changed since then.
And especially so for Singapore, the job of a farmer is no longer on the farm. It's more of like getting new sources in.
People think that, it's just make the order and the food will come in, right?
Kenny is just one link in a chain of people and processes that are striving to make sure that Singaporeans get their supply of chicken meat no matter what.
More often than not, we are always like de facto begging somebody for product.
The reason for all that, so that Singapore isn't caught off guard the next time something like this happens.
Malaysia's export ban on live chickens officially kicks in.
And chicken sellers in Singapore are living day by day.
We are trying our best.
Just over 2 years ago, Malaysia was the only country approved for the import of live chickens into Singapore. So when the ban hit,
I remember my blood pressure was at 190. There was so little time to react. You look at our repertoire of customers, right? Hospitals, restaurants, wet markets, supermarkets, online platforms. You can't expect them to say that, today there's no chicken, I have closed my restaurant.
做完今天就会停止了，明天就开始停。
Export bans aside, supply disruptions can also be caused by disease outbreaks, droughts and floods that affect crop production for animal feed, and crises like COVID-19 and wars.
Some of these things are inevitable, but what we try to do is really to get our industry to try to diversify where they're buying from, so that if, let's say, there's really a disruption in one of your sources, you can pivot and increase your imports from other sources.
I think that the world is changing, and to rely on one source, I think, would be suicidal. We need different sources.
That's where the Singapore Food Agency, or SFA, comes in.
How do they check from outside?
In recent years, SFA has been scouting for more sources of food so that in the event of a supply disruption in one part of the world, there would still be other sources to count on. Singapore currently imports food from more than 180 countries and regions.
I think a lot of people don't understand the hard work that goes behind the scenes to bring in food. People think that, it's just make the order and the food will come in, right?
Before food can be brought into Singapore, SFA first conducts a series of stringent safety checks on its source.
Accreditation is required for live animals, like pigs, chicken, because animals can have diseases that can be passed on to humans or lead to foodborne outbreaks.
SFA's officers assess every aspect of a country's food safety system. They meet with different government agencies to go through the country's legislation, surveillance, and inspection programs.
To understand how they regulate farms, the establishments, to make sure that the overall fruit production is safe.
And also rigorous site inspections.
So what is the frequency of checking? Every day change the product. How many samples they check each time?
When you go to the farms or the slaughterhouses, the team already has some information on hand. But what they need to do is validate that on the ground. Sometimes you may find that the things on the ground may not be the same as what they provided on papers.
For accreditation of frozen chickens, one of the most important things SFA checks on is whether companies have systems in place to ensure the cold chain is never broken.
So right now we will check the core temperature of the chicken, and the temperature measured for this chicken is about 2 degrees Celsius, which is cool enough to prevent the growth of microorganisms in the chicken's slug.
After the accreditation, of course, the work doesn't stop. When the food comes in from these approved sources, we do our import checks.
This includes food safety inspection and sampling.
Okay, thank you very much. We will still develop what requirement for Singapore.
One of SFA's latest accredited sources, a chicken farm in Bintan, just a 2-hour ferry ride from Singapore. Kenny is on his way to see the farm for the first time. He hopes to work out a deal to start importing live chickens from Bintan on a regular basis. And like any business deal, it involves relationship building.
Japfa. Japfa? Oh, Japfa. Okay, okay. Now I'm Japfa. Cheers. Smooth harvest tomorrow. Smooth harvest.
So this is Ibu Jenny, she's the VP of downstream. So she's our main correspondent with Japfa in Thye Singapore.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
We already invited him, so time ago. Finally, he can give me together with you.
好，没问题，我看一下，好，没问题，拜。Yeah, how to stop? If I stop, I can't buy from you, Jenny, anymore. You know, if I stop my work, I cannot buy from you anymore.
Do you enjoy this aspect of like the hustling, the traveling, jet setting?
Start initially, yes, but now a bit tired.
It's not uncommon for me to travel like up to 30 trips a year. At the start of the year, I actually went to Denmark. 2 weeks ago, I went to Bangkok. And I'm also constantly in Malaysia.
All this for diversity. Diversification of sources.
The farm that Kenny hopes to make his latest deal with was especially built to supply to Singapore.
刚好进去也是没有这样，他们不会动。So all the things that we want to see in a good farm are all there. You look at the biosecurity, you look at the product itself. Impressive, really impressive. Beyond our expectations.
You say you're doing a good job.
Good job.
Very, very cantik.
There's just one thing in the way of making this deal practical: price. Chickens from this farm have to travel by sea to Singapore, making it more expensive than the usual chicken imports from Malaysia by land. This round, Kenny has agreed to absorb the extra costs, but it's not a long-term solution.
Obviously, you have to look at how the market will react to the price. We want diversification and everything, but at what cost?
Today, 57 tons of live chicken will be put on a barge bound for Singapore, with Kenny's and other slaughterhouses' orders among them.
It's never been done before at such a scale and over international waters. Take it very seriously. It's actually like a military operation.
Last time we almost cannot catch the vessel, so that's why we have to make it fast to make sure everything on time.
The amount of expedition they have to go through, the amount of work they have to do just to make sure that chickens arrive in Singapore in good condition. Yeah, not easy. They are connecting the power for the fans to keep the chicken cool. The temperature control is essential for the survival of the chicken. If the loading is too slow, right, like they are kept at the sun for too long, then they might die. So does this increase the appreciation of food in Singapore? All this work for just one plate of chicken rice at $3.50.
Almost 24 hours after the chickens are harvested, they arrive in Singapore. Everyone is anxious to find out how they've taken the journey.
Throughout the night, the ship actually sent us updates on the mortality.
Everything is okay so far. I heard the mortality until now it's almost finished. It's only around 30 birds. It's a very low mortality. The chicken happy, we are happy.
With the successful shipment, Jenny has accomplished her mission. Now, it's over to Kenny's guys to get the chickens slaughtered, packaged, and sent out to customers.
现在这个是一厘斤，是我们的是吗？要拿上去好不好？ And this is where we are doing the cut-up parts for the retail lines and also for our customers to require specific cuttings. We always want to ensure that the product we reach our customer is still fresh. 大内，Bintan mat 的包好了吗？Bintan mat 的，包好了，拿。So this you can actually buy this from Bintan mat. Different customers require different things, so that's why we have such a big range of products, from frozen all the way to organic products. This is the freezer area. I think it's quite cool, to be honest. It's like big boys' toys.
Having secured more than 30 partnerships with chicken suppliers around the world, Kenny is prepared for future supply disruptions.
In the event of any supply disruption, we still have enough stock here to probably last for 2 to 3 months, not an issue. But you have to adjust your expectations. You cannot expect your product to be fresh as it was. There are frozen alternatives, there will be chilled alternatives.
Hey, hi. You don't at home,
My uncle, Johnson.
Then that's my dad.
I do enjoy being the family business, and it's something that I really like and really have passion for it. I don't see myself changing jobs. I don't even have a CV. This one, my specialty fried chicken wing. It's also good. Actually, there's a lot of different parts. So this is the rib, this is the middle wing, the wing tip, the neck, and the drumlet. We only sell what we want to eat. I think the biggest sense is also to feed all Singaporeans with quality products. I see it as a national duty.
Whenever there's supply disruption, of course, there's a huge worry, right? But because I think of our efforts, the number of countries that we have approved so far, knowing that, even in the event of a supply disruption somewhere, our importers have enough sources to buy from. There's enough food in Singapore for everybody. I think that's very meaningful.